I'm going to do next, I'm going to put a mask on, so to speak, and I'm going to put a mask on all of us. And I'll be going in and out of character for this, but I'll be talking to you as if you were supervisors in a workplace. We'll call it Mooney Electronics, and I was just called in based on the rumblings. It was pre-petition. You hadn't yet petitioned, or your union had not yet petitioned for an election, but the signals were out there, the early warning signals, as we called them. So I was brought in, and what I'm going to do, I'm not going to do the whole version, because when I used to do that, it was a 2 to 3 hour presentation. I called it the kickoff meeting, where I was introduced to you as management by your CEO, by Al Mooney. And I'm going to give you some of the things that he said to introduce me, and something else that always, it didn't really amaze me, but it never failed. The people who really are the front line in an anti-union campaign are the foremen, are the first line supervisors. And usually up until an anti-union campaign, they were never regarded as management. So whenever there were mandatory management meetings, in most instances they were excluded. Yet they're going to find out in this kickoff meeting that they are the backbone of management, that without them and without their commitment to this campaign, the union will probably prevail. They're going to be informed that however difficult the campaign, the education and information provided to them will be very helpful, and the guidance that they're given by the consultant will enhance their abilities to be management. And they will be told that in the end, the employees will not be voting for or against the union. They'll be voting for or against you. And that is one of the Union Buster's principal messages and one of his principal activities. And the way that's handled, and when I put the mask on and do some of it, you'll see or hopefully feel some of the evolution to how it starts out with you being the backbone of management, the primary link between the workforce and the company, and how as time evolves, you're captured, you're taken hostage, and you really have no choice. And if discovered to be working against the consultant's requirements, because you're also told by your CEO that the campaign, the war, is going to be your #1 priority, that if productivity slacks and falls back, or anything else lessens from your responsibilities, not to worry. As long as what you were doing was campaign-oriented, it's okay. And that because it's a priority, that your performance evaluation will be based on your success or failure in the campaign. And you're told this in no uncertain terms. And then, if you do misperform, or you create alliances with what I used to call union pushers, to put that implication or connotation on the activists, you're in deep trouble. As I said earlier, I've had, over the years, many supervisors discharged because of their positive association with union pushers. And in most instances, because again, every step in a campaign is very carefully choreographed, the majority of these supervisors were kept on so that they wouldn't turn into martyrs and organizers for the union. We simply replaced the campaign activities with somebody else in management so that they got the same coverage. And then when the election was over and the results were certified for the employer, that supervisor was out in the street, and many of them were never able, at least not in the community they lived, to get another job because they were tainted and contaminated with the word union. I start out by saying, well, it's a pleasure to meet all of you, and we're entering into what will be initially a very difficult period, but in the end a very rewarding period for all of you. I would then say something to the effect that your employees have declared war against you. They believe that some outsider can be better trusted and worked with than you as their immediate leadership. And that, from my experience, is a declaration of war. So although we are going to educate, and I am going to provide you with more information than you ever dreamt existed about unions and labor relations, by the time this is over, you will have felt that you had earned a doctorate degree in what unions are really all about. But to start, since we're at war, and we're at war with something called union, I need to ask you a question. What is a union? Rocky, what is a union?
People who work to better their wages, hours, and working conditions.
There's no wrong answer. What is a union, sir?
What he said.
Well, speak for yourself. You know, that's a right you have without a union. You get a union in here, you can't speak for yourself anymore.
People join together for mutual aid and protection.
All right, now remember, you're all management. What is a union?
It's an organization that takes away control from the company.
No wrong answer. Sir, with your thumb on your chin, what is a union?
A bunch of thugs, criminals.
Okay, and I'll stop there. I get, whenever I used to do this in the real world, I got that mix. Now, the first three supervisors I talked to, they don't know it yet, but they're already on my shit list. You, sir, have already identified yourself as a potential hero. You know, so in the kickoff meeting, by doing little silly exercises like that, I'm already getting a sense of the work ahead of me, because depending on the size of the proposed bargaining unit determines the size of the supervisor. So this is a big old company, because, man, I got a ton of management in this room. But that little exercise of what is a union is already my first signal of what's ahead. Then, as I'm talking to you, I give you my definition of a union. And what I would probably say would be words to this effect. Union is a business, just like we are, except they're in the union business. And what does any business need to survive? Money. And in the union business, where does that money come from? Follow the bouncing ball. Dues, fees, fines, assessments. Dues, fees, fines, assessments. Those words will reverberate throughout the whole campaign. In fact, it is unlawful for a union to get money from anything, any place except its membership.